Nice job in the offensive end. Halpert up ahead for Leifer. Leifer open for it. Throws the alley-oop for Terrell. Oh my goodness!
I don't know if there's a way for us to like be helpful, maybe like before the game's over, and this thing starts, or like live right when the game's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we could have, but
Maybe.
Okay, baby, yo, we are back. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Ball Bottom, and tonight we are Fear and Tish with the Grizzled Vet, aka the former Mac, aka the Big Dog, aka Priest Mode. He loves it when you call him Ref Papa. It's Natan Cone. And we have a resident stat head, aka the Professor, aka the Oddmore of Analytics, aka for whom the bell curve tolls. He's the Mashgiach Ruchani of the Derek Jeter's Defense Appreciation Society. He is Rabbeinu Shua HaKohen Shlita. And we have with us Rabbi Lord Baron Sachs. Yaakov Sachs is here, baby. And of course, the Bandwagon Boys are in effect. Both Bandwagon Boys are here tonight. The legendary Jewboy Media, Simi Cohen, and of course, myself, the other half, lesser half of the Bandwagon Boys. And as always, we have the one and only, the mighty Mayor Mizell, aka Mayor Wiesel, on the ones and twos, engineering us to the moon. And as Mayor always tells me to tell you, please like and subscribe to the Ball of Bottom on YouTube. And fellas, 102.65 over St. Joe's, Brooklyn. That was something. And the story of the night, I mean, we could pick out a lot of storylines, but there are a lot of young men on this team who are quite talented at basketball, which is a pretty good thing. So, I mean, Sim, like, what's jumping out at you tonight?
Definitely the depth is like the first thing that I'm starting to realize. Like we were joking in our chat that in last year when we would get out to a big lead and then they would empty the bench, like suddenly it'd be like a little, put like a taint on the game almost. It felt like our bench was always getting outscored by the other team's bench. Actually. And that is not the case anymore.
Good thing. So, I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like that it's been we spent the whole off season like kind of ruminating on who was going to be good. A lot of new faces, a lot of names, you know, most Mac fans are not familiar with. This is like a brand new team. It's just awesome to just go down the line. And
can we talk a little bit more about these Macs? I love listening to you guys. I really do. I am. It was awesome, and it was in person. It just was really. I actually haven't seen them play a complete game like that. And you guys talked about it from the bench also. I'm not sure if you could see it, but the bench was running the offense. Like in the last 7 minutes, they were still running the offense, meaning Natkin's drives to the pass where you got the layup on, like they actually ran the offense. They know the offense. That is not something we see. You guys talked about just the talent level, but they're also, they understand and they're not scared. They were aggressive. I mean, Natkin, Roden, they all came off, even Sultan. Like, again, these guys belonged out there. And they were still better than the other team's bench when they were in the game.
What I'm guessing is happening is the rotation spots are up for grab right now still. So in practice, they're all probably getting real minutes, with some with the starters, some with the second units. So these guys are really getting, you know, exposure to the offense, where I assume last year, the bottom few, you know, bottom 5, bottom 4, bottom 6, probably weren't really seeing quality minutes even in practice. But the practices this year are probably off the charts competitive. And you got a lot of guys, similar sizes, similar positions, competing for roles. And I think that's extremely productive.
I think, by the way, like speaking of, one thing that I'm curious about is this team is so new and so young that I think we kind of like default to a starting lineup of, you know, obviously Zevi and Roy, Margasov and Bardachev and Matan, right? Like that is like a pretty obvious starting five. And, you know, or maybe I D in there and one of those guys is a six man. But that almost feels like other than I guess like Zevi and Roy, but it kind of feels like a default, right? Like any one of those guys at the end of the bench could play themselves into major minutes over the course of the season. And I guess I'm curious, like, other than the main cast, who on that bench do you guys, and like anyone jump in, like who on that bench do you guys, if you had to pick one guy who you think could play themselves into real minutes, who's it going to be?
I got a couple. I mean, sure. I want to know what you saw. And again, in your mind, like I'd like you to answer the question with like, think Zach Himes back in the rotation, right? Like, and it's eating into somebody's minutes. Like, think who's still coming in.
I think you could see matchup based rotations also, depending if we need more size or more speed, more defense. And I think it's too early to tell who's going to be those guys that are going to necessarily be able to step up. But I think those are, I think you'll have consistent 6-7 guys that play every game. And then the other 3 could be matchup based.
I think someone that I'm looking at the minutes right now from tonight, and I'll run it down in order of minutes. So you got Samet at 28, Dotan and Roy at 26 each, Betesh and Adi at 20 each, then Goose at 17, and then Landau at 16. So Landau's actually playing a lot, a bit more than I would have thought, just like heading into the year. He wasn't someone I was really thinking about. I mean, he was one of the guys that was returning, but right there, that's 7 guys. And then you think of Zachheim as like 8. And if you think of like going, 8 or 9 deep, like that's usually what you need in a regular competitive game. How deep do you normally go in like a close game, right? You don't really open it up deeper than that unless it's kind of like a more lopsided.
Well, but think about this, right? Because like again, I don't know if you guys could see it here or see it from the screen. Like Zevi was still sucking wind, right? Like Zevi's still not in perfect game shape. He's taking plays off still. Again, not as a discredit to him, but like he has to work himself into game shape. So I'm telling you, and this is a different team, the depth that they have, I really think they can play 10, 11. Like they can get a guy if they need to get minutes. You saw Matan got two quick fouls, right? Again, he had to come out within the first 5 minutes. He didn't come back until the start of the second half. That is a luxury they did not have. They have never had, honestly. That's a luxury they've never had, to have guys of that caliber playing like that. It's impressive. The guys that stand out to me as just purely guys that I think came in the game because it was a 20-point lead tonight. They worked themselves into a better part of the rotation, but I do see them getting minutes going forward. Igby is also going to get himself into playing shape. I think he's going to be there. He may end up taking minutes from Boker. He actually played earlier in the game than Ryan tonight, where we saw Ryan the last 3 games. But really, I think Roden and Natkin, Natkin was really impressive in terms of like no fear, super aggressive. Like these guys played, but Roden really, like, he came in actually when there was still 22
real minutes. He came in with real minutes.
He played 10 minutes.
And he was good. He boxed out in his first play, got a rebound, then came down. I don't know if you saw like the degree of difficulty on the layup.
That like weird lefty
facing the other way, lefty into the. It was beautiful. It was a really like these guys are hitting shots and hitting shots against traffic. Again, not a great defensive effort tonight, obviously by St. Joseph's, but I was just blown away by the level of talent and balls close to the rim across the board.
Even Roden's step back, he left it short, but like the move looked really nice. He created separation, and I'm sure assuming he grows into a bigger role, that shot I could see falling. He's a good shooter. We saw it during the Maccabi games.
He lit it up in the Maccabi. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that they like the 9th guy, 10th guy has that much potential. Like I don't know that there are many. I'm being honest. I've been watching way too much Division III basketball. Right? Like, I don't want to be a voter, but I'm just saying, like, Hoppers has nothing on me these days.
But we do want you to be a voter.
I'm just saying, I'm not sure that many teams have have guys that deep, can play guys with that level of talent until you get to like the upper echelon of D3. So it's impressive. These teams have a lot more size, but they are really, really solid players.
Hopefully this can work out against tougher teams where you could play 10, 11 guys in short stints, but the defensive intensity just gets ramped up if you could play that many guys, and you don't have to have 3 guys like we had out there in previous years for 35 minutes.
Yeah, and as fun as it is to watch Samet score 40 or 50 points, whatever, if it means him having to like work his butt off for 30 plus minutes against some of these let's face it, like kind of weaker teams in the Skyline, like that's not worth it. This is so much better. The ability to like rely on some of these other guys to actually score. Like there's a lot of guys on the floor at any given point who can put the ball in the basket in a variety of ways. Like multiple
that's my
guys.
favorite line of the night, by the way. You just said 40 or 50 points in a way
like
that you actually
believe that Zevi does.
It's like not believe he gets there. That like it's like a given, right? That he's just going to have a game where he's going to.
Because he could.
And by the way,
like
if
he wanted to, if the goal was like
amazing.
Zevi, go score as many points as you want, like he would score 50 points every game.
By the way, just really quickly because we're live now. Just really quickly because we're live now. Okay, Ryan Terrell was on. You guys, the people on the thing now. You guys all saw him as he was coming off. Ryan will be back, and I have to tell you, I mean, the lost tapes, meaning that was like the Jordan versus Magic, like intra squad game on the Dream Team. Like Ryan was unbelievable on here just now. He'll be back and be even more unbelievable, but that was like a legendary classic Terrell performance.
Can we rehash some of those key things? I really think like there were some things in there. There were nuggets in there that I think obviously is going to be of interest to everyone. But like, I don't like. I have 2 years left until I'll remember that conversation, so I'm going to cherish that for those good 2 years. But like that was unreal. Honestly, that was some of the best conversation that we had there, and so real. And I mean, how he said he didn't miss a minute of a game yet.
Like it's crazy.
Like, game. That's nuts.
Like Ryan, we'll have Ryan back on, and it's gonna. I know it'll be just as good, if not, and in fact, I know it'll be better because we're getting our reps in. But one thing that we should shout out that Ryan said was Zevi will break my single season scoring record, and he'll do it this season. Like that's crazy. I almost don't. I'm almost afraid to like nerd out too much on this, but like, I mean, Sim, you posted it on Twitter. Our chat was just basically like our phones were melting over some of those Zevi shots. Like the quick release, the inevitability of it. Like if I'm a defender, it's just so demoralizing. Like shouts to what's his name on Twitter? Shouts to Justin G at gross_out for the Kosher Curry nickname, because that is what this feels like. Zevi feels very Curry-esque in the sense that he could be, first of all, 40 feet out, and you feel like this is almost certainly going in. He had, I think it was like in the first quarter, he had that wide open corner three, and when he missed it, it was like watching somebody fall up. Like it did not compute.
Also, gorgeous look. A gorgeous look.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I mean,
It was his easiest look of the game.
Too much space.
We haven't talked about Barjajev enough. Like,
Oh yeah, like can we
dude,
keep on him?
he
Unreal.
and Roy are so like. I watching them in the last 3 games, it was like, wow, we have talent. Watching them up close and personal,
Eye test.
they are so good. Like solid. I think Ryan talked about how Roy, like, he is never out of place. He's never in the wrong spot.
What
Like-
does their size look like in person?
By the way, just a shout to Jay Zucker in the chat, and we made this point in the Balabatim WhatsApp group. Difference being Ryan had to score 51 to beat Manhattanville. It's conceivable Zevi can do it in the rhythm of a game. I think Yaakov, you made that point in the chat. Like it's amazing to see Zevi almost like organically get to 50.
That was the quietest
I
40.
feel like I've had the opposite feel. It felt like Zevi's definitely felt more putting up shots than Ryan did last year.
Oh,
Only
me,
last game.
Ryan.
The first in the IW game, it was 1-on-1. Not
Yeah.
tonight. Not tonight. Tonight it looked different.
Tonight was more organic, but it wasn't as much
Yeah.
for the offense. Ryan put up 40 during the tournament game.
you know, he's been unleashed a lot more than Ryan was kind of free to be unleashed, and it's almost like you wish you could have seen what Ryan could have done if he was totally unleashed. I mean, it's almost scary to imagine, but Zevi's freer to put up those shots, but they all come from within the system. Like they all come from within the offense. Like you didn't feel like Zevi was taking anything away from the offense by doing what he was doing.
He's also playing with four
Oh,
guys who
absolutely
don't
not. Yeah,
want
I agree
to. There are four guys who don't want to shoot as much. Meaning, even Roy, who is probably the second option. I really believe he is, and I think it'll be clear going through about time. Like these are guys that can score with the ball in their hands, can make moves and play, but they don't want, like, they're actually looking. I mean, it was really obvious in the games, but even more so tonight. Even when they have size, except for when like they had a 5-footer taking a 6'4" guy, they really all look to him. They tell him to pop out to the corner. right, and not sort of take that space and really get ready. Like they are looking for him to get his shot.
Those shots were in the system last year. They were just going to different guys. That wasn't Ryan. Halpert would be that guy in the corner, with the corner threes. He's just a significantly decreased shooter than Samet is. So it's just you can't compare.
Zevi's just also so good at getting himself so open that it's how many times, and you were there, Nathan, where people like probably screaming, Zevi's in the corner wide open, right? Like he kept.
Oh, you heard on the broadcast. You heard people screaming Zevi.
You heard it, and
there was that one possession where what's his name?
He didn't even get the ball in some of those possessions.
Yeah.
But that he's so good at getting open that like the teammates like can't help but see it most of the time and have to feed him. And even that's when he's not on the ball. And then with the ball, he's also incredible. Like takes a couple steps and he's got moves, right? Like he finds space for himself. My favorite thing to watch with him is just when the shot clock is winding down and he has the ball and the whole gym knows he's going to shoot, but it doesn't matter. And he's not like the tallest guy. It doesn't matter. He creates space for himself somehow and gets a good look off. Like with the quick release, like it's just
that last shot in the first half. They could not have been better.
That was so well defended.
He just hung and just like stuck it.
And you saw that same exact shot in the IWU game, by the way. The same exact shot from the top of the key.
A little more.
The IWU he had more separation, but was deeper.
Yeah, he was deeper and had more separation. But this one, like he was man to man. He took a step back, and the guy actually came with him.
Yeah,
and had a hand all the way up in his face. I mean, it was. I'm not joking. It was this close to being blocked. He was really that. Number 5 played good defense.
That's what I'm saying. It's so demoralizing to play against them.
Oh, it's so horrible. You used to see their faces every time. First of all, the coach is like, I don't know why he's open. Like, what are we doing? We talked about this in the second half, and it was unreal. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. You cannot.
They came out of halftime, and I think he hit the 3 out of the first 5 shots were threes from him. The coach on the sidelines has just got to be like, what did we talk about at half? Yeah.
But the whole team, right? The whole team it's working within the motion, literally to get him open. It's very hard to navigate all those screens and Zevi with all that off ball movement to stick on him the whole time without like totally losing someone else under the basket.
And that's what there's something I just realized. I think Jakob, you asked about size, right? And the size does play, right? The size really plays. I think that's something it's just interesting when you think about the Ryan, like we keep talking about this and we'll probably be mentioning it, for a while, I'm sure, which is, and I don't think we have a doubt in terms of what Ryan can do and could have done, right, with sort of in this setup. But one thing that Zevi gets the benefit of that Ryan would not have, I don't believe, is that, especially in the Skyline, especially in these things, Zevi gets to play against like true guards and smaller players because of the size. Because like last year, Ryan was actually part of the size. Without Ryan, we didn't have the same size on the team. This year, we have the size without it, and he gets to actually match up against guards, even in the IWU game, which was not the case for Ryan on Lambesis. He maybe had a few inches on him, and again, a great defender. Ryan was also playing against, again, Zevi was playing against good defense, but again, a guard that's his size, a guard that's an inch shorter, a guard that is, and I think that makes a really big difference, especially for him getting a shot off.
By the way, shouts to Aaron White in the chat. He says, I know this won't be out there, but it's worth mentioning the team camaraderie is off the charts. Everyone on the team likes each other. No one has attitude. That's why this team can go far. I'll tell you one thing I don't miss about last season. I don't miss the whining, the complaining, the barking at the officials, all that stuff. There were some like ticky-tacky calls, and you just didn't see guys getting frustrated. It helped that we were up by a lot. But guess what? Last season, we would be up by 20 in a game, and you'd see people whining and complaining and not getting back on defense. You haven't seen that once this season that I can remember.
I think
do we have a tech right? yet? Do we have a tech yet?
Yeah, that one weird tech from Matan tonight.
Oh,
it was that was weird. So I don't know if you saw sort of what happened. I mean, from my vantage point, basically that was the automatic.
He didn't even look mad, Matan.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. His mom goes, he never gets mad, and he wasn't mad, and he's never been mad in his. Like I'm saying, it was awesome. I got to sit with Matan's family, and they're just unreal. His
I love
family,
it.
His sisters, they were awesome. But
that's the Zucker family, by the way.
They're unreal. I mean, he like was like frustrated a little bit, but he like did the like two hands to the, and that's an automatic tech. When you slam the ball down with two hands, it doesn't matter. It wasn't a slam where the ball bounced anywhere. He caught it in his hands, but it was the automatic tech, and obviously led to him fouling out later, but with a 30-point lead.
Yeah, Zucker does a little bit of that, but that's part of his. It's like tough, right? Because like some guys play with a lot of passion. That's part of his game. So like you don't want to necessarily like.
But it's him. It's directed inside. If he's frustrated, it's always like I think Mayer said it in the chat when Zevi was called for that foul early on, right? With the
the chase down.
Elliott wasn't happy about it because again, no one had possession, right? So it's always tough when you get a loose ball foul where both guys are going after the ball. A little chicken wing, but not really egregious. And then his reaction was basically just no reaction, right? And that was
he just kind of like stared in disbelief and then
14 or close to that. It was a close game.
In the immortal words of Jack Terrell, Matana's a bro Hansen. He's just a good guy to hang out with, you know. So guys, looking ahead, we got Farmingdale
Saturday night,
right? Saturday night. Okay, so Shua, what are we looking at with Farmingdale? That's a big game.
I mean, so they've played us tough even when we on paper were a lot better. We're supposed to be a lot better than they were. They're very well coached. We all remember that loss last season to them. We all remember the loss in the Skyline Championship in 18-19. We all remember that semifinal in 19-20 where we almost got the tournament, knocked out of the tournament before we even got started. So even when we were on paper a lot better than they were, they played us really tough. So here, I think last year they were coming into their own with new cast of players, and I think this year they're just going to grow. And I remember there was Horowitz, there was
the non-Jewish
guard, a little guard who flew around. I forget what his name was, but I'll have to look at the roster. But they have a lot of young, good talent. Ariel could probably talk to it better than I could. And so, I mean, they were picked as the favorite to win the Skyline. Now, I don't think any of the coaches realized who Zevi Samet was when they voted on that. But they would definitely expect a pretty tough game, and we're gonna have to really play good, clean basketball and continue to build on what we've seen so far this season to really be confident.
Is that big dude that Farmingdale has? Is he out for some reason?
He's not. He's on the roster. I was looking for him. I was looking for him on the roster. He either graduated or he's not. There's something else because he's not on the Sanat, right? He's not on the
Sanat, yeah. He's
not on the roster this year. I was wondering that same thing myself. They have other big guys, but he's just not. He's not there.
Right.
The key with them is they play very disciplined, smart basketball. Last year we played the game we lost. Then we played extremely sloppy and dumb basketball. So where we sometimes, even though tonight ended up being a blowout, it did get closer than it should have been at points, and it was a little sloppy at some points. If we do that against Farmingdale, it's going to be down to the wire at best. So definitely we need to clean that up and work on that for that game in order to take care of business. And I do believe talent-wise we are a better team than them, but they will not let you play around.
I'm not, by the way, that's the one thing I'm not sure of. I'll give you a better read Saturday night because I think you're thinking of Shua. You talked about, I think you're talking about Santos, who was their point guard, Aaron Davis. I mean, one thing that they do really well, which historically our defense has struggled with because we guard even when we were playing great D, we guard the three, all right, and we have trouble with guards that penetrate. But they beat us last year. It was like a successive, and I think it was either Davis or Corey Powell, but one of those guys basically successive mid-range jumpers, right? Just the mid-range over and over and over again. These guys don't heave threes like a lot of the teams that we play against. They really don't settle. They play inside. They shoot the mid-range, and I think they're the outside of Elliott, the best coach team in Skyline. It's impressive, and I think there's a tremendous mutual respect, and they really, really want to beat us. It's evident. And
last year.
Their fans also. You're going to see a lot of fans from Farmingdale, which is
a real rivalry at this point.
It is.
Yeah, listen, it's great to see. Like this is the biggest worry that we all had about the Max was like the drop off, the rebuild, I think at the end of last season, I remember Sim, you said we're not falling off the bandwagon. Like we're here, we're excited about this now. But it has been awesome to see that not only the Zevi gambit has paid off. It's also to go to what you said earlier, Natan, the recruiting that Ryan and Gabe and that whole and the era before that, Simcha and Donnie made possible, and Ritholtz, I mean, go all the way back. The recruiting class that this has made possible has made it so that we actually have this incredible depth. We have real talent. We have multiple threats, and we have great camaraderie, great chemistry. Like, we haven't had to be, beggars can't be choosers, as it were. So I think by the way, to cap it off, I mean, and someone else can kind of walk in with some final thoughts, but just to cap it off, Aaron Wyden on Twitter just now, he says, just walked into the gym to check in on Zevi. He looks at his stats and the stats sheet, says, I'm definitely not looking at my phone tonight. Got to shower and get to 10:45 Mariv. Heck yes. I love it. Like, what better? Like, that's Max basketball.
I think Aaron Wyden is the biggest. He's the biggest Zevi fan. I mean, I've seen him on Twitter now. I like everyone's loving Zevi. I don't know if it's mishpacha. I don't know what it is, but that guy, he is the biggest Zevi fan, and I'm gonna love him.
Not that you might not know this, but Bob Quillman updated his profile pic.
Yeah, but Bob's watching from Bob is. Let me put it this way. Bob is smitten, right? So it's like it's puppy love, right? It's he sees the new face. Gabe has he hasn't spoken to Gabe in a while. It's a puppy love. Aaron White, he's got like he is like it's real. Like it's real. Like there's there's some buffers together. It's real. So like whatever it is, it could be mishpacha, it could be something else, but like it's impressive and I'm loving it. I'm loving the love on Twitter. Whenever it is, he's his hype man, right? Like
Bob's like our James Bond. Like, every season he's got a new girl. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, there's Gabe, now there's Zevi. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited for the updated Bob profile pic with Margasov. It's gonna be great. Or with Roy. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited.
I can't wait to get those guys on the show. I mean, I know we had our Margasov cocktail earlier. I really want to hear, like, again, it was great to hear like how, and Ryan, obviously there was a protection Ryan mentioned for those who missed it on air, but Ryan mentioned that he's been working out with Caleb for now years, right? Multiple years, 3 years now. And obviously they're in California together, but some of these other guys, like, how did YU get on the radar, right? And what made them connect? And I just think it's going to make for some really like, touching just backstories. And I think that's going to be awesome. Like, I think it's going to be really, the fabric of this team is fantastic. They're really great.
So look, we got an amazing season coming up, both Max basketball and of course of the Ball of Bottom. Cannot wait to come to you. We'll be hopefully coming at you Saturday night right after the game, live with the Ball of Bottom. We're gonna try to post game basically every game, as many games as we can. Hopefully we're gonna have same, if not even better, caliber of guests on the show. We definitely, I mean, we haven't asked them, but we're speaking this into existence. We're gonna get Bob back on. We're gonna get Ryan back on. We're gonna get Whit Nabel back on. We're gonna get our dear friend from Calvin back on. We're gonna get Matt back on. We're gonna get the whole crew. Hopefully, have some amazing D3 guests over the course of the year. Hopefully, get Ryan.
Poppers, we got a voter, right? We gotta get the voters. The Poppers gonna be after Thanksgiving. We gotta get Poppers and his voting take.
Exactly, Poppers. Only correction I can offer, by the way, to the Max Live broadcast tonight is they slandered Bob Quillman by referring to him as the honorary chief rabbi of New York. There's nothing honorary about this position whatsoever. He is the legit one and only, the one true king, actual chief rabbi of New York. But other than that, love the Max Live broadcast. SJ was on fire tonight. Every segment was amazing.
Is Max Live not counting the election? Are they not admitting to the choices? Are they saying it doesn't count?
I don't like this election denialism from the Max Live.
Really questioning Ari's ability to just give smicha at the
guys. I mean,
it's literally from one person to another. That's what it is.
I mean, I think this
is the YU family name. This is YU right here.
Hard to see this as anything other than a direct attack, but I'll let it slide for now. Got my eye on you, Max Live guys.
But the only thing that needs to happen is that next time Bob is around, you have to let him hold little Norman.
By the way, that's the goal. That's the fine. Okay, goal for the season. Bob Quillman holds little baby Norman Lamb, Storm Norman. The last thing I'll say tonight is huge thanks to the mighty Mayor Mizell, aka Mayor Wiesel, engineering us on the ones and twos, engineering us to the moon. And as Mayor always tells us to tell you, please like and subscribe to the Ball Bottom channel on YouTube so that you know where to find us. It helps other people find the show, and it helps us grow this thing because it's pretty awesome. Subscribing is free. And that is how YouTube works. And we are super excited to see you guys the rest of the season. Chevra, we did this.
Join me Saturday night. I don't want to be, alone. It was me and 200 eighth graders, from an MTA program. It was awesome.
Now we're talking, baby. Guys,
it was awesome.
Farmingdale's up next. Let's do this.
Big game early in the season.
Shkaya.
Oh, man. Ryan, that was so good. He was so good.
He was unbelievable. Okay.
You got to reach out to Zoom and ask them if they secretly record all meetings you have on your program.
No, I know. Listen, I will say, oh man, Hartower just jumped in the chat. Amazing, as usual. So the by the way, Jack has confirmed us that and Ryan himself said we asked Ryan if he'd be cool to come back on, and he was
Okay.
I think that's the only part he was live for.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. So man, that was ridiculous. It was so cool. All the G League stuff also was amazing.
It's unreal. It's really it's unreal. So I love being live. I love hanging out here. Guys, this has just been again, the bromance is starting again. It's starting up again, guys. So, let's do it. Let's rock it this season.
Let's just be honest. We were ready for much more of a down season. So all of this is just icing on the cake, right?
I thought it would take a little longer, no?
Yeah. I'm saying so.
This is unreal how quick they are.
I love it. Unbelievable. Oh, and before we sign off, shouts to Zevi Fisher. Zevi is such a great name. Could not agree more. Zevi Fisher was prescient with snagging that name. Zevi number 2 now lighting it up on the court. Guys, Lila Tov.
See ya.